Hello folks, I hope you all are doing fine. Well, I'm also doing a very great. So we are going to continue with our chapter which was the living world, and today we are going to study the diversity in the living world. So as you can see this beautiful picture here, and you can see that there are plenty of animals are there are birds, okay, there are different kind of plants are there, and can you see I have drawn myself too here? Yes, the pinky one. Okay, so we all are here together on this good planet called Earth. And you can see there are different kind of organism. Yes, there are. There are animals, there are birds, there are plants. All these are different kind of organism, right? The living organism. And even in animal, for example, let's just say, even in animal there are different kind of animals. So how much vast variety of the living people we have around here? Yes, we do. Not only people, of course, the organism. Okay. So, for example, you go to this multi-cuisine restaurant and you see that there are variety of food. So you see, oh, that's really a good multi-cuisine restaurant. You call it multi-cuisine because there is different kind of variety you see. The Indian food, the Chinese food, the Punjabi food. So much delicious food, of course. Okay, but when you go to a particular pizza station, there is a pizza only. So you cannot call that as a multi-cuisine. Okay, there is no variety there. But you can guess our Earth as this multi-cuisine restaurant because there are very much. Okay, and when I say very much, 1.7 to 1.8 million of different kind of species are here. So very much varieties are there. And not only that, this is the thing only we know. Okay, so we have done this research and this much amount is only that we know now. There is another world, you can say that another different species are there which are still unknown to us. Okay, so these are only the known species. Every day we are finding a new species. Can you imagine how much different kind of species are there on Earth? Okay, so this variety of number. Okay, so the number and type of this organism present on Earth is called as biodiversity. Of course, the more the number, the more the type. Okay, the merrier the diversity. And if there is less different number in type, okay, the variety of the number and types are different, okay, let's just say lesser, then the biodiversity is less. So that is depend on that what kind of organisms are available on the particular planet. For example, let's just say when I say that we have the different kind of species and these are the new one, for that I have to identify. I say we research it. And how will you identify something? For that, you have to have a good description of that, right? So, for that, I need to have a good description of that particular thing. For example, you went to this place where they are asking you to fill up the form and there is a third option called as physically challenged people. How will you define that? Okay. So for that, there has to be a description. They write that if you are, physically challenged, that means some part of your body is not properly working or available. Then you can tick mark on this particular box. So there is a description that they have give you. And on the basis of that description, you have identified that, okay, they are talking about the physical challenged people. So, I am not going to believe that. And if someone is physical challenged, he is also going to get that by the description that, okay, that this XYZ person has no leg because of some reason. So, that he can identify that because that person has no leg, that is physically challenged. And then you give name to it, which is handicapped. So if there is a box name handicapped, that person is going to tick in that. So that is a process which you have to follow. Okay, if you want to give a name to something, the naming of some organism is. So this is the procedure you follow. You have to describe it first. Then you try to identify it. That did I know this? Is this a new one? Right? And if there is a new one, you give name to it. So that is a kind of an easy process. And then that process of giving name is called as nomenclature. Nomenclature. What? Nomenclature. So, of course, you and I cannot give these names to all the things available here. Okay, we just can give name to whatever person newborn is going to come in our family or something like that. When it comes to locals' names, okay, for example, you are in Gujarat, the other person is from France, let's just say. Yes. So what is going to happen? He comes to your city in India and he asks, you are a sailor. Okay, you have this beautiful shop and you are a sailor here. And that person came here and asked you that in his language that I want this whatever thing. And of course you don't get it because that is not your local language. Okay. So how it is going to happen the conversation now? So he decides to draw it. He takes a paper, he draw it, okay, and fill up like this and like something like this. And I say, oh, Rajma. He didn't get it, of course, because that is my local language. Let's just try to use the universal language here. So I say beans and he happens to know that universal language. Thankfully, he says, yes, I'm talking about beans. So when you say something in the universal language, it becomes the conversation so easy, right? Same thing is something that the scientists thought. They thought we should actually give universal name to each organism present here. Okay, each living organism has this right, yes, to have this universal name. Do we have a universal name? That is a question of the day. You are going to answer in the end of course, I am going to answer. You are going to answer whenever you want to. Okay, that do we have a universal name, a human or scientific name you may say. Okay, so that, of course, I say not we can give this name. The scientists are going to give that name and that is why I can call it as a scientific name. Now, who decides that? Okay, so there is a community of scientists for plant and for animals. Okay, so the plant one is called as International Code of Botany. So when I use the word botany, you should know I'm directly talking about the plants. Nomenclature. And this is a whole name, so you can say botan, like removing the Y, you can say botanical. Just like that, for animals, it is zoological nomenclature. So these are the communities, okay, that are specifically to give name. How cool is that? They just have to sit around and give name to each organism. Just give this name to this person, this name to this person. Not that much cool. Because when you give name to whatever person you have in home, okay, the newborn, there are no rules, right? But when these people give name, okay, they have to follow some rules. And that rule, okay, is called as, you can say, Carl Linnaeus has a kind of a theory. Why he thought that we should give a name by this method. Okay, so he has this theory and that tends to become the binomial name. So of course there is binomial, there has to include two things. Yes, they do include two things. One is species and the another one is genus. So each scientific name is going to have this genus and species in that. Very first rule. Who found this? Of course you have to remember Carl Linnaeus. One more question. Yes, here it is. Okay, so Carl Linnaeus, here there is to be E, Carl Linnaeus. Okay. So there are some rules, as I say. The very first rule is that whatever name you are going to have, that scientific name has to be Latin. And you have to write in italic word. Okay. It should be written in italic. But of course, when you type it, you can write in italic. What about when you handwritten, when it is handwritten? For example, if I want to write a scientific name, okay, for example, Magnifera indica. Can you imagine what is the name? Okay, so it is a name for a mango. Yes. So that because I've handwritten it, I have to underline that. So that is, this is the first, this is the second, this is the third rule, and the very fourth is that first letter has to be in capital and all the other letters has to be in small only, no matter you start a new word from here. Okay, so this is a genus, this is a species, only the first letter is going to be capital. Other than that, all of these are going to be small. So this is how you give the name, the nomenclature and the diversity. In next lecture, we are going to study about the classification system. Okay, I hope you got the lecture. Thank you and have a nice day.